and welcome to That Pixel Life. This is episode 200, recording July 17th, 2022. My name is Zach Anderson, and this week we are going to discuss kind of the long journey of That Pixel Life, some of how we got there, some favorite moments of the last 4 years. 4 years? We're going to do lots of spoiler talk since we didn't do any last week, and we're going to catch up on the media we've been missing, games, some news. To do all of this, I have a full house with me this week, starting with Shannon Sun Hat Moore.
Hello. Yeah, so look, your boy is not the best.
You know it's good when it starts that way. So look.
I'm not the best with sunscreen. I'm not gonna lie. Some of the worst sunburns in my life have been in the presence of Zach. More than just his bright and shiny disposition. I do stupid things like put sunscreen on and then fall asleep on the boat for 4 hours thinking that I'm safe, and sunscreen wears off after 50 minutes. So then you get the worst sunburn in your life. So your boy tells me, Zach tells me, you're gonna die of skin cancer if you keep getting burned like this. So what do? I went out and I bought a nice straw big sun hat. One of the ones that you see people fishing, doing all the outdoor activities. And I wore it yesterday, and the first words out of Zach's mouth were, "Bro, what are you wearing?"
Okay. Just for clarification, when you're out in the sticks somewhere fishing and there's that octogenarian that's fishing, maybe he's got some waders on or something, and he's got that straw hat that's short in the front and long in the back and wide on the sides. It's a mullet of a straw hat, if you will. Yeah, your boy was rocking that, and I was just like, you are too young to be wearing such things.
I've done too much damage to my skin. That's what I
need to see a picture of this so I can see if I can remember it. It's going to remind me of Deliverance.
Do the rest of the introductions. I'll get the hat.
Also joining us, who stayed quiet, so you don't know he's here. But Justin, 4 dogs is okay, but 7 is too many. Carter.
I know. Zach called me this morning and was, asking just a couple questions here and there about the pot, and then dropped he's like, "Do you want 3 more Huskies?" No, I do not. I told him, I'm like, "Why do you hate me? I have 4 Huskies."
That was actually his response was, "Why do you hate me?"
I have 4. 4 is plenty. I remember very vividly in my mind the time when Bunny and Sarah had their litter of 9 and we had 11 Huskies. And it was the most stressful about 3 months of my life.
That sounds completely untenable.
Yes, of coming home to just a sea of dogs and just the barking, the dog shit that I had to pick up on an every 3-day basis because the backyard was just getting demolished every day by them. So 4 is my max. I do not think I can handle. That's 2 per person, and realistically,
that's too many.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
I mean, I'll say it for you since you don't want to say it, but yeah, I totally get where you're coming from.
You're picking up what I'm putting down.
Yeah, I knew the answer was no. I just had to throw it out there to him. Oh, and the hat has arrived. Let's do our final introduction. Joining us for our full house this week, Robert, NCAA preview, Steltenpool.
My hat.
Hello. It is good to be here. Shannon, you look like a drunk uncle at a family reunion.
Damn.
Or like that dude that went with the yard long drink at the county fair,
Yeah.
Don't hate my hat, bro. It's cool. I like it. Keeps saves me from the skin cancers.
It does. It also looks like it could save you from any female ever talking to you. So,
well, at least he has it covered.
That's fair. That's fair.
That's his fiance's problem at this point.
Dude, what's the little design on the hat?
Yeah. Huh?
What's that little design? It looks like one of the logo. Jackie Chan talismans.
It almost looks like a AAA logo. Did you get that hat for free with towing service? Is that what happened here?
I mean, maybe.
That would explain a lot.
Got it from Santa Cruz.
All right. I mean, hey, I'm glad you're fighting the sun's vicious rays with your fair Irish skin. I am happy about that. But to be clear, when I said, hey, maybe take a little better care of yourself out in the sun, I was talking about SPF 100. I wasn't being like, hey, bro, just murder your fashion sense. But But this is a man that, as an adult, bought, satin anime character button-up shirts. So, I mean, I guess I shouldn't be surprised.
So what you're saying is it's an improvement.
God damn it, I guess. Yeah, I suppose. But gentlemen, episode 200. We're here. We made it.
Woo!
I never thought we would.
Yeah, I mean, kind of when we stumbled out of the gates 200 episodes ago, not really having a plan or a mission or just doing what we're like, hey, I remember talking about games and it was fun, so like let's put another crew together and keep talking about games. And then people left. Decks got reshuffled. It was just me and Shannon out in the wilderness for a while. Like those were weird times. All of a sudden I'm hosting. I was never a host. Like what the hell am I doing talking? Robert was gracious enough to come back in and save me from myself from time to time, like
You're welcome.
As a person that actually does host podcasts. It was just like, hey, yeah, I can tell you're drowning. Let me just come in here and talk for a while. And I'm like, oh, thanks, Robby. That's great. Appreciate you.
All I'm here for.
But I mean, I will tell you, you're doing an amazing job as a host. I mean, you actually on the 200th and 199th episode, I mean, you didn't even botch the intro. So I mean, that's an improvement right there.
There you go. It only took me 200 episodes, but there we go. I nailed one. Blind squirrels, man, they find nuts from time to time. And then Justin was our favorite guest for a while, and then it became, so the funny thing with Justin was like, it was what, 2 episodes, Justin, you came on as a guest?
Yeah, I think so, like 2 or 3.
Yeah, and then it was like that last one. I remember we wrapped the show and I called Shannon like right afterwards. I'm like, can we just have Justin be on the show? Like every time he's on, it's fun as hell. Like we all get along. It's like super, super great content. Like it was just super fun to listen to after the fact. And then, so I threw it out there, fully expecting Justin to be like, yeah, thanks, but nah, I'm good. He was like, no, sweet.
It's so funny that you say that, because when you texted me asking to join full-time, like, you'd think I got fucking drafted into, like, the NBL or whatever. Like, I was, like, sitting there, like, shaking my phone over, like, trying to, like, I'm like, play it cool. I'm like, I was like, I don't want to give away that I'm as excited as I am about it. I'm like, yeah, I'll join.
Yeah, I guess, but I mean, the show instantly got infinitely better as soon as that happened. Like, and much like Robby and I in the first go around of the podcast, like all of a sudden I had like a best friend that I never knew I had, and it was amazing.
Dude, when you're saying that about Justin, because I actually did not know that about how Justin joined.
Okay.
That's like literally how I joined.
Mm-hmm.
Like I jumped on because they wanted me to talk about a game that I had only I mean, I can't remember I know it was a 2D side scroller. It was a 2D. It's a shooter, but no one in the group had played it, and I had, and I really enjoyed it. And they had me on it, and I remember, Zach, do you remember this? My internet, the power was going out in my apartment,
mm-hmm.
so I connected my laptop to my phone. So I could be on a hotspot and record with you guys, because I really just wanted to be on the podcast with y'all. And then it's like a week later.
Yeah.
I got asked to be on. Go ahead, Shannon.
I was gonna say, what made it all the better is like I had been on that podcast like 2 or 3 times, and you just got on there once, and then they just drafted you like right out the gate. So
Shannon's like, I had to work for my spot.
There's no bitterness there at all. He sees the pictures.
Yeah,
for me at E3 was Zach, and he's mortified with anger.
A little tear comes to my eye when that memory pops up every year.
Straw hat starts shaking in his hands. No, it was funny though, because when that first podcast ended for Robby and myself, and the original host of the show, Josh. It was tough. It was sad, but it was one of those things where like we all enjoyed the experience enough that me and Josh definitely wanted to keep going. And Robby, at that point, you were starting your sports podcast on the other side, and that was going to be your focus. and you knew you were only going to be able to like kind of spot jump in from time to time. And then so we had I had one of my good friends, Elena, who's always wanted to do a podcast, and she jumped at the chance initially. And then Shannon, who I know plays a ton of stuff and like is someone I've talked to about with games for years, and I'm like, hey, you join me. And so so that was the original lineup, and then like, and it was good, it was fun, but like kind of life just started happening, like Josh had another kid and he just didn't have the time for it anymore, and then Elena went back to school and she didn't have the time for it anymore, and then it was one of those like all of a sudden and that was after about a year, Shannon, something like that.
Yeah, we're about 100 episodes in.
So yeah, it was
less than that. We were like,
it was
no, it was like episode 30, like 30 or 35.
40, something like that.
Yeah, I was like,
But
I joined around the like 100-ish episode mark.
Yeah, because I want to say your last spot as a guest was like episode 82 or something like that, and then it was just like Justin's kind of on full time. But yeah, I remember it was a couple of weeks there of me and Shannon kind of looking at each other like, I guess we're gonna keep doing this. I don't know, like we could just stop maybe, but I mean, to be fair, it was also like I loved checking in with Shannon every week and talking, and it was like, I'm 43 years old. Like, I don't even see people anymore. Like I have 2 kids. Like, it's like my one time a week to like check in with my boys, and it's like, it's important to me. And so we just kind of kept that train rolling, and I'd like to think that over the next year or so, we kind of found our legs, got back under us. And I know, like I was saying earlier, I'm very appreciative for Robby jumping in there from time to time to kind of, get us back on track.
We got to give shout outs to Robby. We got to give shout outs to Jordan. We got to give shout outs to Mike. I mean, we got to give shout outs to like a lot of people in there for like just jumping in and like breathing fresh life into Zach and I talking about our early 20s.
It's so funny because I remember as being like one of the, since episode 1, #1 fan of the podcast listening. I remember that era of the podcast where you'd like tune in and Zach's like, how's it going, Shane? He's like, yeah, it's the same as last week. And it's like, yep. He's like, all right, news. We got some news. Any news?
Yeah. How were those dark days, Justin? Because as someone that was impartial at that time, was there a moment where you're like, I gotta delete this from my feed, bro? Like, this is tough.
No, I just felt bad because like all of a sudden there was like half the TPL crew was like gone, and you're like, Shannon, like anything new? He's like, nope, nothing new. And you're like, all right, I'll just go fuck myself, I guess, and I'll go on to the next thing. And but
no, it was great because like like Justin would seriously like pepper me like in like just through any means necessary, like with getting episodes wrong. Like it was a fun time.
Yeah, I like to think that's how I got my foot in the door, was giving shit Shannon for misnumbering episodes, or when he'd make spelling mistakes in like the description, I'd be like, hey, I messaged him, and then he'd call me out and like post it on Facebook and stuff, and that made me even happier. I'm like, ooh, I'm like not even on the episode and they're talking about me.
Yeah, but it is and that was actually something, circling back, I was very appreciative to Robby, because every time Robby would come on, because you had your show going, your college podcast going pretty steady at that point, and every time you would come on, I would like be sitting there like mentally taking notes the whole time, like because it was like you have a very clear way of how your information's like organized in your head and how you deliver it and how it comes out and like the way you describe things and like and it's, you can tell it's very practiced, is the way I would describe it. And it, for me, it became a very good thing to like lean on, because I feel like our brains work very similarly in a lot of ways. Yeah. And so it was one of those things, hence the reason
why we always text each other new hats that we always say.
Totally, right. And our wives hate us. Yeah. But yeah, no, and it was one of those things where it became very, very much a outline for me to kind of operate within. And I feel like I got better as, I mean, I'm probably still horrible as a host, but I feel like I got better as a host by just kind of paying attention to like what you were doing on your show a lot. And it helped me out. I mean, it really did. So,
Well, I mean, for me, I did not realize how much I enjoyed podcasting until the first time I did it with the first video game podcast that we were on. I always enjoyed having conversations, debates, and arguments with friends and stuff at dinner tables or around the water cooler talks and stuff like that. Sure. But I never realized that I really wanted to enjoy it. And I never realized how passionate I was about video games until our first podcast. And I realized also to be good at podcasting, you have to be willing to look foolish, even with your takes, or even if you're a little recluse or you don't want to share something, or you're too maybe a little hesitant to share something, you probably should, just because even if it backfires, it's still entertaining. I mean, go watch First Take. Go watch anything on Fox Sports. Like, those guys say idiotic, dumb things all the time that never come to fruition.
Or some of the early Robby's rants. You know,
man,
those old early Bible thumping days, bro.
It's funny that you should say that, folks, because you got one coming tonight. Just so you know. Freaking Nintendo.
Yep. But no, I thought that was the piece that really elevated the show from my point of view, is when Justin came on and was able to pull what you're saying out of Shannon, because like, and this is no like,
you've gotten so good, Shannon.
Yeah,
you've gotten so good, buddy.
I'm not throwing any slander your way. Please don't take it this way, because I'll be the first to admit, bro, I can talk. Like, I can just talk. Like, I can ramble. Yeah, right. I can ramble on anything for as long as you want me to, and that is not everyone's forte. Like, I understand that, and Shannon is not that way. I have known Shannon for damn near 30 years. He does not operate that way, and Justin has zero problem being like, oh, you made a face when I said that. I'm just going to keep poking at that until you react into a microphone, until you actually say words. I'm just going to keep bringing that up. And it's been great. It's been great because like Shannon has fantastic things to say. He has great points. And like Justin has a way of just like reaching in there, grabbing it and ripping it out of him that I can never do. And it's fantastic. And that's also taking nothing away from Justin's ability on the mic. Like, Justin is hilarious. Like, he's entertaining as hell. Absolutely the secret sauce of this whole show. Like, it's fantastic. And I am very appreciative. Well, him and Shannon can't geek out on some anime. That is true.
Yes. I'll have to say it was like in the beginning, like Justin was so like out there in the beginning, like just with his takes, like they were super hot takes and they came across the fence like hard. Like you and me were just like, holy crap, like what did we get ourselves into? And now it's like I lean into that. It's pretty good. Like in the beginning when Justin would come at me and I would make a face and like we would have a debate, I'd be like, after we got off, I'd be like, are we still friends? Like, is he gonna be mad at me? Like, I don't even know. Like, we kind of went at it there, and then after a while, I was just like, he's my boy, and he understands. It's okay.
Yeah, there was multiple times in the beginning where after recording and stuff, I'd go to bed, and I'm like, I know Zach likes me. I'm like, I don't know about Shannon. I was like, I'm one of those person. I'm like, a lot of people, it's like they either like me or they think I'm fucking annoying, and I'm like, I don't know where Shannon lands on that, but.
I will go to bat for you all day. Like, you are fantastic.
I mean, I'll go to bat for you most of the time.
There we go. There's that attitude I love to see.
Until you start bringing up some Dragon Ball shit, and then you guys get all like incensed about it, and I'm like, oh my god, what are we
Watch out,
doing?
Robby will get in there too. Mm-hmm. Robby's good on that. You might find yourself on the losing side of that coin.
Oh, I've lost that coin. Like, Jesus.
Which coin? I'm sorry.
The Dragon Ball Z coin. Like, I'm saying, I've already lost that one. Like,
so good.
Being on a show with you three jokers. Like,
do you remember, Zach, do you remember I recorded that episode telling the history of Dragon Ball Z?
Yes.
Shane, did you ever listen to that episode?
No, I did not. What episode was that?
It was on our first podcast.
Yeah.
Scott Scott asked questions going through the whole thing, but I told the entire Dragon Ball Z story.
I must have listened to it because I listened to pretty much every episode of
And
that
then
book.
and then I want to say the next week we had you do the entire story of BioShock
Oh
front to
yeah,
back.
yeah.
It was it might have been it was either the
I
episode before
wasn't
or the
even
episode
drunk.
after.
Like I was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
doing it because I think it's amazing.
And it was one of those like, okay, like if Dragon Ball is confusing, can you get through BioShock? And it was just like, and by the time you got the middle of Infinite, it was just one of those like, ooh, what are we doing?
Well, the funny thing is, it's BioShock 2. It's BioShock 2 that's just like, where are we now? We're
Yeah.
back? There's this lamb lady? What
And
is she
I'm
doing?
like, and what part of Rapture are we even in? I don't even know. Like, how did we not see this in the first game?
Minerva's Den is the best thing ever.
Best thing ever. It's the
so
best
good.
standalone DLC ever made. I'll die on that hill. But yeah, no, it's been a hell of a ride. I've been super appreciative of all three of you gentlemen. Plus, like Shannon said, you know, Jordan and Mike and like other people from the community that have guested from time to time. It's always been fun. Especially or not especially, even when they get their favorite Ninja Turtles completely wrong. But you know, it's Raphael. Raphael's the best one. Sorry, but
No. I just
Yeah.
got done reading The Last Ronin
uh-huh.
yesterday. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, it's I mean, I know it's a graphic novel, but
It's
I
like the
don't-
final like
yeah.
the final Ninja Turtle story.
Mhm.
It is incredible. And
and Raphael's the best, right? Like,
no.
Oh.
Raphael is not the last one standing. That's all I'll say. You
is
should
it
go read it.
is it the Cyclops? Is he the last one standing?
No, I'll let you read it, but I just got done reading it last night because I spent most of Friday with my youth playing Shredder's Revenge. We got a bunch of us on controllers and we were playing it, and it just was like, man, I need to read that story that my buddy told me to go read, and I read that thing, and it is really great. It really is. You should read it. Last Ronin. That's what it's called.
Fantastic use of your time.
Yeah.
Play, you know, at your Bible study, playing Shredder's Revenge.
It was game night. It was game night with the youth group, so we played video games.
Fair enough. Fair enough. You know, a game that you're not going to be playing with your youth group, by the way, is Bayonetta 3, which
No, it will
actually is
not.
coming out.
So you say that, but they added a feature to help censor the lewdness, so that way
is
Robby
true.
could play it in front of his youth group without, you know, coming off a certain way.
Yeah, when the hair flies.
Just because the nudity's gone doesn't mean the cringeworthy moments aren't still there.
Yeah, but if they
it's gonna be
censored the
still language.
cringeworthy moments, would it really be Bayonetta?
But is anyone else shocked that this is actually coming out this year, which is October 28th, by the way?
I mean,
I'm shocked it's coming out.
I'm
Yeah.
just happy you finally got it. You've been talking about Bayonetta 3 for like the last 3 or 4 episodes, saying, when is this going to come out? When are they going to tell us? And bam, like they just dropped it like.
Well, because
No.
it's Bayonetta 3 is one of those games, kind of like Breath of the Wild 2, which, by the way, they still haven't titled. That's my favorite thing about that game. It's like we still even everyone's just calling it Breath of the Wild 2. No one knows what that game's actually called. Where it's been just long enough now, where it's like, where is it? Or are you holding it back for a new Switch? Like, what are we doing? And so yeah, to have them finally say, nope, it's coming out and it's coming out 2022, makes me think a couple thoughts. One, they've probably had this game for a while and they've been either waiting on new hardware and finally hit the like, no, it's not coming, so we need to make this work on the existing hardware. And also, I don't expect this game to run well. I really don't. Like, I mean, I hope there's a PC version or something coming out, because you watch that trailer and I'm sitting there going like, man, this is going to be a nice 30 frames maybe on the Switch. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of color and a lot of action, a lot of things flying around. And I mean, your thoughts, gentlemen?
Everyone loves the first two. They're a lot of fun. But to your point, the reason why people love those first two games is because of the frame rate and the chaos that's going on screen.
For sure. Yeah.
The Switch has trouble running. Like, the Switch is great in a lot of ways, but power and running things at 60 frames per second or high quality 30 frames per second is not its forte. So
especially new titles. I mean, it has problems. It has problems with some, 360 PS4 type stuff.
It has a problem with a game that I'm going to talk about here in a minute. Yeah. That I have very strong feelings freaking about. Yeah, it that only has little tiny animated characters on the screen. But no, like as someone who adores the first two games because of the chaos that it is and just how fun it is, like it's Devil May Cry with a female. I mean that's really what it is. I'm excited that it's coming out because the people who want this game to come out, I don't know if I'll get it when it first does come out, but I will play it because it's a heck of a lot of fun. They always have been. But does it have to be on only Switch, or is it gonna come out on other consoles? Is it?
I think right now they're saying it's only Switch. It's coming exclusively to Switch this year. So I mean, hopefully we get a PC port of it at some time. But I mean, I just dropped a screenshot of the battle in chat, and that's ugly. Like I'm sorry, that doesn't look good.
All of the fodder are faceless mannequins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a big like thing in the top right that appears to be like maybe controlling the faceless mannequins or something, but it's kind of an amorphous blob of a thing. And
it looks like an ugly t-shirt from the 90s.
I mean, if you told me that was a still from a PS3 game, I'd believe you.
Y'all remember it was probably about 4 years ago. There was some huge Japanese developer, Nintendo Japanese developer, who wanted to create a new action slasher game. I don't know why I can't remember the name of the game, but it just looked so remedial. It looked like crayons in the art design. Like that's kind of what this looks like to me. Not necessarily that bad of quality, but just it's just Nintendo, bro. Like, what? Is anyone here surprised? Justin, are you surprised?
I mean, I'm not surprised. I've been saying it for a while now that, it's one of those things where, like the Switch can only do so, it only has so much horsepower and stuff. And it, I think if Nintendo could release a new Switch, like a stronger Switch at this point or whatever, they would have. And Zach has said it before too, and I think COVID kind of fucked with those plans, and that's why they came out with the OLED and whatever. But it's still a prettier shell, but the same hardware for the most part. And it's one of those things like I am, excited for. It's one of those things. I will probably play Bayonetta 3, but at the same time, it's like, how can it be better than Devil May Cry 5? Like, how can it run better than Devil May Cry 5? And it's like, I don't think it can. Like, just with the amount of enemies on the screen, with the Devil May Cry's like on PS4, PS5, and it runs great, looks great, it's fantastic, controls fantastic, and it's like, I don't think that it can really compete with that. But
so graphically, if it stays the same, but you can get 60 frames per second on the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox or on PC, would you guys still play this game, or would you want to see a graphical facelift on the game before it hits these current generation consoles?
Okay, so you're saying that if this was a not exclusive, if it was a wide release and looked the same, it just ran super good. I'd probably be okay with it, simply because like these games, the battle is the game. And running smooth as hell and flowing from state to state would be awesome. That's like why I'm playing it. And it's like anything, you adjust as you like. It might be a little rough at first, but you'd get over it. It just becomes the game becomes what the game is at a certain point. And that being said, I would love a graphical upgrade. I would definitely not kick it out of bed for eating crackers, but I don't have to have it. The thing is,
can we go back to that? Can we go back to that phrase real quick?
Yeah. Okay.
What in the blue hell does that mean?
Crumbs get everywhere in bed, bro. Like
no. Really, Shannon. Thank you for the cracker physics update.
I thought that's where you were struggling.
I've never heard that phrase before. I've never heard
kick her out of bed for eating crackers?
No, I've never heard that phrase before.
Showing your age, Zach.
Back in my day,
Would you like a hard candy?
stay a while and listen.
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Yeah, totally.
Get off my lawn.
I mean, it's a pretty self-explanatory phrase.
Okay.
But
Okay.
yeah,
Keep going. Keep going. I want to add in on this, but go ahead with.
yeah. I
where you
mean,
wanna play it.
I would love a graphical upgrade on it, but I don't think it needs it. Where when it becomes a necessity to look better is if it doesn't run good. I mean, that's it's like if your game's gonna chug and frames are gonna drop and all that stuff in a high flying crazy action game, it better look beautiful as hell. Like it just better. And to have it look like a PS3 game and run at 30 or sub 30, that's going to be rough. I hope that doesn't happen. But I don't have a lot of faith at this point.
I think in the world of video games that we live in, within the last 4 years, we've had games like Next Machina, My Friend Pedro.
Yeah.
These games come out which are more physics based, and you know what I'm saying. Like there's a lot going on the screen.
Yeah, kind of pure chaos type stuff.
But it looks incredible. Like Bayonetta 3 should be that. Like it should be that. It actually should probably, to Justin's point about Devil May Cry, it should be the peak of it. Like it's 2022. Like there's no telling how this game's been out. I feel like this game's been in development for 7 years. Like it's been.
It has been.
Like,
I mean, they announced it at the E3 we were at, right? Wasn't it like Bayonetta 3 and Prime 4?
Prime 4, the teaser for there's a teaser for something else that we still haven't seen.
Yeah.
Like
I think it was Breath of the Wild 2. I think there was a Breath of the Wild 2 teaser.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
And like it just goes back to Nintendo is going to continue to walk to the beat of their own drum. They're not going to try to compete with other people. But in this kind of situation, why? Why not?
Yeah.
Like 100%. Why not? And Shannon, to your question, I would want to see this game on PS5 or PC. Like I would want to see this game fully rezzed up, art out the wazoo, and I want to see the physics, and I want to see the hair physics. Like I want to see it all over the place. Because that's what we should see. Like it's first world problems. I understand that, but and as I've gotten older, and Zach, I've probably never understood you more than I do now about your selective gaming. If I'm going to pay $60 or $70 for a game, it's 2022. They should look great and they should run great. I don't know the problem. I don't understand the problem.
This was the full thing when, I mean, granted, very different game type entirely, but this was the whole thing when they had that first Halo Infinite trailer. And everyone was like, this looks like an Xbox 360 game. What the bloody hell is going on?
And everyone was right for being upset about that.
And they did the full ugly Sonic treatment of like, whoa, hey, we're just going to put this on ice for a year and fix it and come back. And yeah, the game they released has a bunch of problems, but looking ugly ain't one of them anymore. Like that game is really cool to look at. It needs a hell of a lot more of content and stuff to do, but it definitely doesn't look ugly anymore. And on PS5, you've got games, if you want to talk like games where a bunch of stuff is happening in chaos, you got games like Returnal that look stunning and run great. And on the Xbox side, you've got things like Forza that just are mind-blowing when it comes to graphics and things like that. And on the Switch, you've got Hot Wheels. Like it's
on
not
PC. You have Vampire Survivors.
Well, which is amazing. But
I'm trying to see how many times I can fit it in there just to bother Shannon. I just want to see how many times I can fit the game in.
I just noticed your hat, Justin. I want to get you a similar hat that has it spelled with an E. But yeah, his hat says Justin, by the way. Just I realize no one else can see it. But
well, see, I'm actually recording the video for the 200th episode, so everybody can see it. Everyone can see Shannon clipping his fingernails.
Oh,
fingernails. There's a patch of skin there that I need to get off.
There's always
great.
Somehow that's not better, Shannon. But yeah.
Um, can can I bring up Vampire Survivors?
You can
Bring that up? Shannon,
because
if you want to turn off your video so I don't have to see your disgruntled face, like that'd be great.
so
Go ahead.
real quick, me and Justin were talking about this earlier offline, and I asked him like, does Vampire Survivors just piss him off? Because he's a game designer. He makes games, little indie games, you know, like projects and stuff like that. And does he ever play something like Vampire Survivors that's so simple but so good, and he plays it and he's just like flips tables and is like, F these people, damn it. Justin, your thoughts?
The answer to that is yes. Yes, I do.
See, but this goes to the bigger picture. Bayonetta 3 should be big, bombastic, and chaos everywhere. But Vampire Survivors is all 16-bit design, but there's chaos going on everywhere. But it's so freaking fun.
Yeah.
Like, how does that? I just don't. My brain. I understand it, I guess, a little bit, but it just breaks my brain to think about that this $12 game is way better already. I'm telling you, even months ahead of time, this game is way better than what Bayonetta 3 is going to be.
I was like, it's only like $4. It's like $3.99 is what like Vampire Survivor. If that, I think it's actually $2.99. Yes,
even worse.
And I had heard about, like, I kept hearing the name Vampire Survivor. I heard it for months, and I kept thinking it was kind of like Vampire, like the Masquerade, is kind of what I pictured it as, because I'd never seen anything about the game, and everyone kept saying, like, how amazing it was, so I was like, alright, whatever, and I looked it up on Steam, and it was, like, #1, like, top trending, like, #1 selling under indie games, and I'm like, okay, what is this game? And I click on it, and when I saw the pictures that looked like some Xbox Live Arcade fucking indie title game, I kind of was like in disbelief. Like I was like, I thought it was like Frog Fractions or something for a second. Like I'm like, dude, this can't be fucking real. Like, and it had overwhelmingly positive, and people in the comments, like for the reviews, had like 500 hours in it, and I'm like, dude, there's no fucking way. And I downloaded it. I was like, I'll pay the $3. I'll be damned if it's not great. Like it blew me away, and I'm like, I see what the fuss is. It blows me away though that the game came out in like 2020 and it's like trending still to this in 2022. It has the Among Us effect where I'm like, someone, I don't know who, on Twitch played this fucking game and just propelled it like jet fuel on the game, just rocketed into the stratosphere. Yeah.
Zach's a trendsetter.
And
yes, it was all.
I am currently sitting in the game. I have 25 hours into the game. I have 15 characters opened. I have 5 levels opened. I got to the. Have y'all played the bonus level where there's just plants everywhere?
No, I haven't played that yet.
No. Justin?
No.
Justin, how many levels have you opened?
I'm still in the first area. I've unlocked like 5 characters, but I haven't beaten the grass area.
Zach, what about you?
I've got 5 areas open, and I want to say 9 characters.
Okay.
Maybe more.
So what I did is I went and saw, I went and looked how to open up every character.
Okay.
And I went through and opened up all the characters. Just to point out, it's hard as balls to get some of these characters open because some of the levels are like, oh, survive 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me back up. This game is so simplistic in what it is. It is you pick a class character, you go and you try to survive. It turns into Galaga. You are just trying to survive the enemies, the enemy hordes that are coming your way. And y'all have already talked about this, but I think what I've enjoyed most is just it's that one more time game. It's that one more run game. It's you can't just play one run. And but the other side of that coin is it's also a 30-minute game at the most. You know what I mean? So it's one of those like if you only have X amount of time, oh, I know I can get at least one good run in and be good. So and
it's got both those sides.
The diversity of the classes is awesome. The diversity of the of the level ups throughout the round is so much fun. Like, and the funny thing is, excuse me, I was reading a breakdown of the game, and these people were saying, "Hey, these are the best builds to have to get through a level." Man, I didn't use any of the main abilities that they said to get because I preferred this ability and then this ability and this ability. Like, it's just so fun how you can actually do it any way you want. It goes back to, like, it's kind of like choose your own adventure. Now, there are certain abilities in that game, and Zach, you and I talked about this, that suck. The bird that flies behind you shooting lasers, that thing can just go jump off a cliff and never come back.
That thing's horrible.
It sucks so bad. But, like, there's a bonus level. I'll say this and then we can move on. The bonus level is, like, it's nothing but plants. Like, and you got to destroy the plants, and it's essentially a level up level. You go through the plants, blah, blah, you kill all these different plants, you're just trying to get all these diamonds, getting everything, all this stuff. At the 15-minute mark, Death shows up. The Grim Reaper shows up, and he F's you up.
Yes, he
You
does.
are not making it past 15 minutes and 8 seconds. You are not. But it doesn't matter because, like, I enjoy the crap of just destroying all these plants and trying to level up and see all these different abilities. And, like, it's not my game of the year right now. Elden Ring is still my game of the year. Like, I didn't put in... Elden Ring is just special. But it's little games like this. Like, I refuse to play Power Wash Simulator. Like, I refuse to play that game because...
Why?
Yeah, shut your mouth, Justin. I saw your eyes. Don't you roll your eyes in that tone, okay? Don't you roll your eyes in that tone. All right?
In that tone.
I just have no desire to play a washing game. I have no desire.
You're missing out. I'm telling you.
Shannon, you shut up over there, Shannon. Okay, you haven't made it through No Way Home. Okay,
Dude,
all right.
Rob
I've used that example like 1 or 2 times, bro.
Robbie's just like
a big deal.
Bet you Robbie would play Power Wash Simulator if you were cleaning on like the Ferris wheel with holy water.
Just
baptizing people with a power washer.
Maybe look at it as exercising the dirt, Robbie.
You know what? That's fair. I have to show this to you, Justin, or I can't show it to you because it's on my phone. But it's a meme that a buddy sent me who said this is the most Robbie meme ever, and it says when they think you won't throw hands because you're a good Christian boy, and it says Father, Son, Holy Spirit summoning jutsu, and then it's Jesus and a demon with him. It's a Jujutsu Kaisen. Oh man. But no, I think this year, I don't know. I know you guys did a like a mid-year thing last month. I've enjoyed the games that I've played this year. Like,
Yeah, I have too.
Except for Elden Ring and Vampire Survivors, I haven't had any other really game that's like stood out. Like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. But I'm hoping Tales of Arise gets to that point, and I know Shannon loved that, and I have enjoyed that. But yeah, Vampire Survivors. I've been playing that, and my wife keeps making fun of me. She's like, Robbie, you realize you're playing a game that looks like it's on a what did she say? Not Super Nintendo, the one before that.
Regular Nintendo?
No.
Entertainment System?
Atari. She said that game looked like it's on an Atari, Robbie, and you're addicted to it. It's like, yeah, because it's a great game.
It's one of those games where I don't understand why it's not like an iOS game also, but I'm also extremely thankful that it's not an iOS game because I
wish it was on Switch.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
dude, Switch
Yeah.
would be instant purchase for me. And to put it on
It'll
Switch,
come to
they'd
Switch.
charge $10. I would pay it.
It'll come to Switch in like 3 years.
You're right.
You're not
You know what?
wrong.
It'll probably run at like 12 frames a second.
Well, let's
Still the same Switch, it will.
Yeah, totally. Right? Well, let's talk about the other big news from the week that I know made made Justin very sad, which was the skate news. Justin, do you want to walk us through that real
I don't.
quick?
No. Dude, it's just upsetting, dude. They fucking took away Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4 from us, which was already bullshit. And then what do they give us instead? Skate. And what are they doing to Skate? Making it free to play. Free to play are like the 3 words together that instantly just fucking kills pretty much any game for me. That wasn't
a skateboarding game at home.
Yeah, it's like you have a skateboard at home. But it's just like, dude, come on, because you know it's fucking EA, man, dude. They're gonna microtransact the living shit out of that game and make it too enjoyable. Like, I just want no part of it. And the fact that I know in my heart of hearts we had Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4 basically a for sure thing, and then that just got cast to the wayside. And the skate game we're getting instead is now some free-to-play whatever thing. I'm just heartbroken.
They're leaving it up to the community is what they're doing. Is like they're like, you want a skate game? Here it is. Like, you want to keep it going? You fund it. And that's kind of a shitty thing.
Well, that's why you should just go play Ollie Ollie World and just play that, because that's an incredible game.
Well, and, I got, Devolver's giving us Skate Story and stuff soon, which, I have that, but it's just...
It's not the same.
It isn't. It's just a bummer, and it's like, you think, Diablo Immortal, how'd that go for taking something and then making it free to play? Like, yeah, it's making millions a day, sure, but at what cost?
You know what else I saw is coming to mobile is The Division. Is going to be a game you can play on your mobile phone that is now free to play.
I didn't like that game on my PlayStation. I'm not going to play it on my phone.
Hell no, I didn't like it when I paid $60 for it. I'm not going to buy it for free and have to pay money again to hit enemies with 1,000,000 bullets.
Justin, can you stamp the date and time so we can revisit this? I want to play that audio back 2 months from now when Shannon, is playing this game on his lunch breaks and everything else.
I was gonna say that too. I'm like, bet that fucking Shannon's gonna be in an elevator with his little phone doodad attachment so he can game on, and he's gonna be playing Division. He's like, all right, it's not as bad as I thought it was gonna be.
Showing up at the job site with that weird cradle thing that holds a PlayStation controller and a phone on top of it.
No.
Shannon, do you feel seen? Because I feel
I know I'm getting a little red flushed over here. Like I can feel a little heat underneath the collar.
Those, like when you saw him adjust in his seat and kind of get real quiet, it was like,
Let me go back to my fingernails.
Yeah. Shannon said Division on.
Bring news to you guys.
Yeah. He's like Division on mobile, and he had the waistband it.
Okay.
Oh, shit. No, I agree with you though. It's I think, all kidding aside, this is a weird but sign of the times where it's just like they're going to try to do all this stuff on mobile, and especially now as the Xbox Cloud initiative is going stronger and stronger, and there's rumors of the Xbox dongle that for TVs and whatnot. I think you're going to see all this stuff kind of like these older titles just go free to play, download them, try to make their money on the back end. It's worth keeping the servers up, that sort of thing. And it'll be interesting to see how they get there. Speaking of that fabled E3 from 2017, Robby, Skull and Bones. Skull and Bones actually coming out. It's actually coming out.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
Let me tell you something, okay, about Skull and Bones. I am sitting in this incredible. I'm going to this awesome E3 event with my boy Zach here. We are having a great time. We're walking through the gaming hall, and we see just these like 10 or 15 TVs are back to back, letting a bunch of people play this game. There's a long line to play this game, and I'm like, man, I really want to play that, but I don't have time and I can't sit in line here. But I stood back and I watched some of the gameplay. I was like, this just looks like Black Flag.
Oh yeah,
this is just Black Flag. Why did I need a whole new game for Black Flag? Like, but hold on, Shannon. Like, all I was saying was, like, at a time was like Black Flag was so good. Like there has to be more to the game than just the sailing in Black Flag. So I had no idea because if you remember, Shannon, they didn't show us anything else other than just sailing. and so then the cinematic trailer comes out last week, and I watch it and I'm like, it's still just sailing. Like what is the point of the game? You give me this ambiguous, like, you choose your own adventure, you get to be the leader, or you get to be the crew member, you know, like all this like what is this game? That's my question still, Zach, is what is the game? I understand I'm sailing. If anyone comments and says you're sailing, no freaking crap. What I'm saying is, what is the purpose of the game?
My understanding is it essentially is just one big pirate MMO. Like, it's just one of those things where, kind of like Sea of Thieves initially was, where it's just like, you get on a ship, you're gonna have crew members, you can party up with people, you can go attack other ships, you can go try to get more treasure. You know, like, it's and I don't know if there's more than that. I don't think there is. There's no campaign. They said that. There's no, like, campaign. It's just like, go out, raise your infamy level, and try to get bigger. Essentially, that's the game.
Do you think they just let Sea of Thieves come out and look at their failures and they're like, hey, we'll just do this better?
Maybe. I also think this was one of those things where, you know, behind the scenes, they had government backing from, I think, Korea is where they're making this game out of.
North or south, because that's a big deal. Which one?
That's a big swing. I understand. But and I feel like they had to finish the game and get it out, or they had to pay all the money back, was the thing. And so I get the feeling this just kind of got crapped out, and here it is, and we made the game and released it. There we go. Okay, we're moving on now. I mean, it's getting dropped November 8th, which is the week before God of War. Like, you were sending this thing out to die. Like, you were 100% just sending this thing out to die.
What was it? Oh, it's like Titanfall, the first Titanfall.
You remember before Call of Duty? Titanfall 2. Titanfall 2, which was actually one of the best goddamn games of that whole generation. Yeah.
The time jump episode or level of Titanfall 2 is one of the best design levels of all time.
I have been on these airwaves talking about the planet building warehouse level, which just total mind bending, the whole level, and there still hasn't been a first person shooter even close to the creativity that's in that game. That is one of those games I go back and replay once a year just to remember it, and it's fantastic every time. And the amount of just amazing stuff that's in that game it's the best first person shooter campaign of all time. You can't tell me otherwise. I will not accept other answers. Yes.
Would you count BioShock in that?
Yes, I would.
All right. Well, then we disagree, but that's okay.
But that bisects, because you have the, like, action shooter part, which is
gameplay. If you're talking about gameplay, pure
gameplay, like, nothing's close.
You're right.
The story of BioShock, sure. Like, the story of Titanfall 2 it's generic. It's not amazing, but yeah, like
no. You shut your mouth. Then that last level, when he opens his chest and gives you that gun, it is dope. It is incredible.
Oh, sure.
But here's the big question: are any of you going to play Skull and Bones if it's not on Game Pass?
Oh no.
Even if it's on Game Pass, no.
Yeah. I don't even know if I'll play it if it's on Game Pass. Yeah.
Valid points from both Justin and Shannon on that one.
I mean, I won't lie, dude. I loved Black Flag.
Yeah.
Like, the sailing was so fun. If it's on Game Pass, but it's a Ubisoft game, so it probably won't be on Game Pass.
Yeah, it'll be on their Ubisoft Plus or whatever it is.
You mean that Ubi Duty garbage? Yeah, it's stupid.
But see,
if they were smart, they'd wrap that into PlayStation Plus or Game Pass. But yeah.
What you have to understand, Robby, is although it was a shame you didn't get to play the demo at E3, you'll get to play the demo again when it comes out in November.
Fair. That's fair. It'll just be a longer lasting demo. That's all.
$60 demo.
You can put on all your E3 gear that you wore that day, and you can sit down in your chair.
That shirt doesn't fit me anymore that I wore then. So
the medium. Oh,
yeah.
Man.
He got way too swole for that. You know.
It happened.
Gotta get to the.
Do we have any other news?
Robby, you got to get to the vet because your pythons are sick, bro.
Right, that's right, baby. That's right. Do we have any other news, or can I go ahead and rip Nintendo because they have pissed me off, and they've made me make a bold claim that I'm never gonna break.
All right, go for it.
All right,
Let's
look,
do it.
Mario Strikers. Okay, so I remember being on this show before the game released. Do y'all remember me talking about this game and how excited I was about this game? Do you remember that, Justin? Because Zach wasn't on. It was Shannon and Justin. Do y'all remember that? And what did I tell you? Y'all remember what I said? If they screwed me over, I was done. I was done buying their sports games. Well, mother effers, I'm done buying your sports games. Okay? Because look, here's the thing. The gameplay in itself is awesome. The animations is really cool. The way they've created like Wario and Waluigi having their own personalities on the field, even if you're not controlling them, is a lot of fun. Like, that stuff is good. However, that is not all of the game, or that's not what all the game should be, but it is all the game. They promoted this game as like building your own armor, like build your perfect version of Toad or your perfect version of Mario. How can I freaking do that when you only give me 5 pieces of armor at the beginning of the game? And the only way you can get an additional piece of armor so basically you have hands, chest, head, and feet. So you have 4 categories of armor. You have 5 pieces per category. You can't add any more categories of armor except for 1, that's if you beat the game. Which, by the way, to beat the game, there is no story mode. There's only the cup challenge, and you go into 4 cups. You know how many games are in each cup? 3. 3 4-minute games for 1 cup. And once you beat that cup, you get moved to the other one. So, guys, you can honestly beat all the single-player content in this game in an hour and 10 minutes. And once you're done with that, you're like, okay, well, maybe they have some really cool online play. Well, have you met Nintendo? They don't really believe in online play. They're stupid. So you get on the online, you can play these matches against people, but you can only do that. You can only play a single match. You can't play like a season. You can't build and then they're trying to set up these stupid set rooms to where you can create your own room. Like us 4 could be in a room together and play against each other. Yeah, I don't want to do that crap. I don't want to they have not thought of the longevity of this game in any shape or form. All they've done is said, hey, you know what people like? They like soccer. Let's put out a soccer game with no depth, with no more than an hour and 20 minutes of single player content, for no reason for me to keep playing their online mode, because I can't open up new characters. I can't open up new armor. I can't really do anything in this game other than an hour and 20 minutes on my own time. And then again, the gameplay, from the 4 minutes of gameplay that I get, which, by the way, I can't even extend the gameplay online. I can only play 4-minute game, not 4-minute quarters, 4 minutes total. It is so surface level. It is so shallow in what they've offered that Nintendo is going it's like Skull and Bones. It's just like, hey, let's get this game out. But the problem is, I would be more gracious about this if they hadn't done this for tennis and for freaking golf.
Well, it sounds like golf was better than this.
Yeah, golf was so much better than this. And can I, also, why in the blue freaking hell can Link never be in any of these sports games? That's just a side rant.
That's a good point, actually.
I gotta deal with Shy Guy and his dumb mask. Why can't I get Link? I got freaking Rosalina here, who's in 1 game. And it was a very frustrating experience, because I was so excited for this game. If you listen to the episode that I was on with Shannon and Justin, they heard me talk about how excited I was for this game, because I was so excited. Because the Mario Strikers game on GameCube is awesome. It's legendary. But this game is utter disappointment. And there's nothing short of it. It's just disappointing. You need to do more, Nintendo, especially if you're going to charge me $60 freaking for your game. I'm sorry that was so long. I apologize. I haven't done that in a while, so
No.
It felt good.
So what you're telling me is it's going to be on your Game of the Year list?
No, it will not. It will not. And
will it make your most disappointing list?
yes, it is right
Okay.
now. It is the most disappointing game that I've played because while again the 4 minutes of gameplay that they offer me is great and awesome, and I do love the strategy of like my lineup is not what I would have thought it would have been at all. Where I've got Luigi, Waluigi, Rosalina, and Bowser, like because of the way I like to play, the fact that like I can't really play, like I can't do a single player mode. There's no story mode whatsoever. Like, and I know story mode isn't necessarily like the greatest thing in the world, but it at least gave me more than an hour and 20 minutes of single player content.
So it's not even the golf thing where like the cross country golf was
No,
awful
there's
and
none of that.
everyone bounced. It's just
Or the
Okay.
tennis where you're going on a map, you know, going like there's none of that. There's no challenges, dude. There's no challenges in the game.
So when they
I'm-
inevitably try to sell
You were
you
so
basketball, you're
I
not gonna
know.
buy it.
I was so disappointed. I will not buy basketball. I will not buy sluggers. If they decided to create an NCAA Mario football game, that I will not buy it. I'm done buying their sports games because I've wasted almost $180 in 3 sports games that have been so surface level, and they're just getting worse.
I mean, you might pay to see Bowser coach Alabama. So,
Yeah.
I
Mario lacrosse.
That'd be kind of cool. Or heck,
Mario,
I mean,
Mario Lax, I can see it. Yeah.
you know what? Actually, Mario volleyball would be kind of cool.
Don't
Nope.
get your hopes up.
The one I've never understood why it doesn't exist is Mario Hockey. Like you could literally just do NHL 95 on the Sega Genesis, but with Nintendo characters.
Never thought of that.
Yeah.
I've never thought of that.
Like, that's the one where I just don't understand how it doesn't happen. But Nintendo, constantly
Sorry.
disappointing.
All right, I'm done.
You sure? You need a breather?
Yeah, I'm just sad now.
Okay. Well, Robbie's made himself sad, so let's talk about what we've been playing. I'll be honest. I'm in the doldrums. I've just been playing through old stuff. Like it's, yep, Vampire Survivors. No one wants to hear me talk about that anymore. Planet Crafter. No one wants to hear me talk about that anymore. Oh hey, Power Wash Simulator hit 1.0 and is out on Game Pass, and I played some of that on the Xbox just to try it. And hey, that game's still really good. That game's still really fun. My kids are now playing it, which has been a fun experience to see them play it. I do have to say it's way better on mouse and keyboard than it is with an Xbox controller. Like if you want it on Game Pass to play it on the PC. It's fine with the controller, but it's slower in a way using the controller than I mean typical with like first person shooter, I guess, where you get way more finesse control and way quicker turns and stuff like that using a mouse and keyboard than you do with a controller. I hope they someday patch in the ability to speed up your cursor with a controller. That would help that a lot. But yeah, it's still a kick-ass game. I've downloaded the escape room game, the Escape Academy, but I haven't had a chance to try it. I'm really excited to try that one. Yeah, that's about it for me. I'm just, and still plugging away at Portal 2 because it's amazing. But I have hit a point though where I'm starting to wonder if I want to just play it on the PC instead, because the constant load screens. Now that I've gotten deeper into the game, it's just every 5 minutes you're loading, every 5 minutes, and it's just like, God damn it, I don't want to see these screens anymore. But yeah, that's about it for me. Shannon, what you got?
I went back to work this week, so my body, just wanted to come home and go to sleep. So I got about 2 hours of gaming in this week, and I just decided to play some more Outriders to get a little further along in the story, get my character a little better. And yeah, that game is going places now. It's pretty crazy. I still find it disappointing that you basically max out your character's abilities, maybe halfway through the game. So that makes the combat feel stale, but the story is kind of interesting right now. So I'll stick with it just to see what it's about. Justin, what are you playing?
So I'm very excited. The DLC for Horizon, the Hot Wheels DLC, comes out in 2 days.
Nice.
I'm
So
very excited for that.
I'll get
yeah.
that.
yes,
I'll download that. For sure.
so it's
Is
right.
that on Game Pass, the original?
Yes. So
Okay, I think Elijah's old enough to where he would appreciate Hot Wheels.
Yeah, for sure.
I think he would love just the regular one. I mean, like my son plays just the open world portion of that game, and loves doing all of like the challenges, like launching your car like certain distances and trying to hit the speed traps and finding the barns. Like I would give him the controller and just be like, find the barn. It's in this area. It's in that circle. Don't leave the circle, and you'll find the barn. And he would just like find all the cars for me. So Elijah, I think, will enjoy it.
Cool. Sorry, Justin. I just wanted to ask.
no, you're fine. But yeah, so I'm very excited for that. But this week I played more Neon White, still extremely good. I think I'm about halfway, maybe a little more than halfway through it now. So it's a lot of fun. New games that I played this week, though. I picked up Stacklands, which is on Steam. It's like $4. It's like a little deck. Well, I say deck building, but it is card based. But the whole premise is you basically open up booster packs and get cards, and you're trying to just last as many nights as you can. So you start out with like one little like villager card, and then you like play it and stuff, and you get like your little villager, and it kind of walks around and stuff on the screen. And it has the loop hero effect where there's I see Robbie's eyes lighting up, where there's combinations of cards where you stack the cards together and they do things. You don't know off the bat what anything does together. By opening booster packs, you get certain little like info cards that kind of tell you, hey, you can try combining this, stacking this and this together to do something. And what's nice is those cards it gives you in the booster packs, you can sell them for gold. But once you've gotten that in your like little menu thing, you forever retain that information, which is something that Loop here did. So it's like once you get that combination, even if you get rid of that card, you'll forever have that information of, oh, you can look this up and you can combine. How do you make this? You combine this, this, and this, and you get this, which is really nice, especially once there's a lot of stuff going on. So like you get a villager, and then it's like, okay, well, you need to build a house. And it's like, how do you build a house? You need like 2 stone, 2 wood, this, and the villager. So you earn enough gold to open up enough of the first booster pack to get those, and then you stack them all together, and it shows like a little loading bar. And then once it's done, you get a house card now. And then it's like, okay, well, now you can take 2 villagers. Once you get a second villager, put them both in the house. They make a baby. And then the baby's in the house, and then the baby loads, and then once that takes forever, but then once that's done, then you have a full adult villager. And then so it's like that's a way. So then you can keep throwing 2 villagers together in the house and keep making babies to get more villagers. But the problem though is that you don't like you have to feed. There's like day and night and stuff. So there's like a little bar that's like day, and then once it goes to the next day, you have to feed all your villagers. And so you don't want to just keep making like, you don't want like 12 villagers and stuff right away if you don't have an accurate food source to constantly feed them. Otherwise, some of your villagers will start starving and whatever, because you won't be able to feed them because you're not making enough food with as much manpower as you have. But it's cool because it's like as you go, like, you know, you can build a farm and build this, and then there's certain cards you can get so that you can throw like a villager in the lumber mill, and then you get, as long as there's a villager in there, you get unlimited wood. Like it'll just load, and then it'll poop out like a wood card, so you don't have to keep opening booster packs for wood. And there's a stone mill or whatever for stone, and so you can have them doing that. And then after a couple days, a portal opens up in the town, and then monsters will come in, and the villagers will fight the monsters, and you can throw multiple villagers on a monster and stuff to get them to attack. But if you make a spear and attach that to a villager, it eventually loads, and then you get a like warrior villager instead, and their offense is a lot better, and they attack better, and then everything they do is like just a little bit faster than the normal villager. So that's nice. So it's like, dude, as soon as I had like wood, I'm like, all right, everyone's getting spears, everyone's becoming this. I'm like, I got baby factory like in the house, but then you also run into the problem of when it goes from day to night to the next day, you can also only have so many cards on the field at a time. And so then you have to sell a bunch of cards, like cards, whatever, to get down to the mount. But there's one card that lets you have +4 max extra cards. So you're like, okay, I need to make a fuck ton of these to boost my maximum card count so I don't have to keep selling, like, because I was making so much food once I had the garden and whatever, and I was just pooping out carrots. And then it would get to the next day and it's like, yeah, you need to get rid of 17 cards. And I'm like, oh shit, like there goes like my food source. And I had to get rid of it. So I'm like, okay, we need to make a bunch of this so I can have a bunch of carrots now. And then I'm fine getting rid of like 6 cards, but I can't keep getting rid of 17 every time it goes from like night to day. But it's a game I definitely like. Shannon might get upset about it. I don't know. I know it's definitely in Zach's wheelhouse, and I feel like Robby would also enjoy it.
I'm looking at it on itch right now, and yeah, this is one of the most like Justin games I've ever seen.
Yes.
Like, it has card boosters you need to open, and then you sell cards to get more boosters, and yeah. I can see this game in my future for $5.
Yes,
for sure.
And that's also why I bought it, because a lot of people said their main complaint when I was reading the reviews, like, oh, it's really short, but it's like, A, you're only paying like $5 for it, so it's not like it's really like that cost intensive. But they also just did an update recently that added like a whole like new island and more cards and combinations and whatever, so they're adding more content to it as well. So once I saw they added the island, whatever, and it was like on sale for like 10% off or whatever, I was like, done. I was like, it was on my list for this year to play anyway for like game of the year stuff. So I was like, yeah, that's a no-brainer.
For sure. What else you got?
I mean, so that's it for all I was playing. This week too, Friday through it ended today at noon was a game jam called the GMTK Game Jam, and me and Shrimp Fried Matt were supposed to work on a game jam game together, but he came down with COVID, so we didn't end up doing that because we're going to Comic-Con Wednesday, and I'm like, bro, you need to test negative by Wednesday, so your ass is going in bed and you're resting because we need to go to Comic-Con.
You're going to Comic-Con?
Yes, yeah, we're going to San Diego Comic-Con. We're supposed to. If Matt tests positive, I don't think that's gonna happen on Wednesday. So I'm like, you need to kick it because
you're going to work like Matt's booth.
Right? Yeah. Matt has a booth at San Diego Comic-Con, so we have vendor badges to be there from Thursday through Sunday or whatever. So we're going Wednesday, like afternoon, and driving there. And there's plenty of time to walk around, do whatever. But, Marvel's going to be in Hall H this year again, it says. So I'm excited. They haven't been there in a minute. So I'm excited to
Isn't DC going to be present too?
I think so. Like, there's like a bunch of stuff going on. So
we're going to talk about Marvel here in a bit, but I hope they have a lot to announce.
Oh, dude, I'm sure they do. But for the Game Jam, the theme was Roll of the Dice. And even though Matt and I didn't get to participate in it, I tried myself to do it. And I made something. It's not done yet. I'm still working on it. But it's almost done. Like, it's probably about, 70% of the way done. And I want you guys to play it once I'm done with it. So, the game I came up with is called Devil's Bones. Devil's Bones.
Okay.
And the premise is you signed a contract with the devil to sell your soul, and he comes to collect, and you have to negotiate your way out of it. And so you roll dice, and you start out with 1 dice, and then eventually you get up to 2 dice. And it's like a branching, almost like path dialogue of what happens, but it's also based on what you roll. And so there's certain instances where it's like, okay, like for the dice spot, it's like for this path, you need to have rolled an even number. And then this one, you have to have rolled an odd number. And then you place it in, and then you go down that path. And then it's like this one, now you have 3 options. And it's like you can grovel, and that can be any numerical value. It doesn't matter. like, but both dice go there. And then it's like, okay, well, you can lash out in anger, but you have to roll 2 odd numbers. And then the third one is like, or you can barter, but you have to roll 2 even numbers. So it's purely luck based. So it's like, it kind of has that replay value of, you're not going to go down every path, and it's purely up to luck what path you go down and stuff. But that's kind of why it's taken so long, is because once I've gotten into the 3 branching paths, well, it's like, okay, well, fuck, now this goes this way and this. So I'm like having to do a lot of stuff I'm like, okay, well, if it's this and then this and then this and then this for like the branching paths, and none of them reconnect with each other. They all just go out in different directions and stuff. And so some end with you just losing the game, and then there's a couple where it's like, no matter what path you go down, there's still like a chance for you to still win, depending on if you roll right and what you choose. So
I'm excited to play that.
So
hell yeah, let's do that. Devil's Bones. Look
Devil's
for
Bones.
it soon.
But yeah, so that's all I've done this week.
All right, so why don't we? I think I hear sirens. I think sirens are upon us.
I hear them.
They're blaring. Air raid. Get indoors. The dogs hear it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, dogs have been going wild this episode. But let's talk a little spoilers, gentlemen. There's been some stuff. I think we need to go big game hunting right out of the gate. Let's talk some Thor: Love and Thunder.
Okay.
I know Shannon has not seen it, but Shannon has given our blessing to spoil away. And so let's talk about the best thing in Phase 4 that's not a Spider-Man product. Let's talk about that.
Robby's face.
Robby's questioning my judgment already. All right.
Better than Shang-Chi?
I love Shang-Chi.
I love Shang-Chi too. It's better. I'm sorry.
Really?
No, Shang-Chi's more consistent. There's not the huge tonal issues that this one
Shang-Chi's
has.
so formulaic though. It's so formulaic
It
compared
works.
to this.
Like
Sure.
2 + 2 = 4. Like that formula works. Like
Yeah, I understand.
Okay, look. Can we go ahead and get the negative out of the way?
Yeah.
Let's talk about the negative, okay, of this movie, because I have a lot of praise for it. But you call the guy Gore the God Butcher.
Mm-hmm.
We don't see him butcher any gods.
Except for one. Yeah.
The very first one that he does on accident.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Okay.
and to be fair, the sword kind of does it for him.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
We don't see the sword take over him. We don't see any of that. It's just, hey, this guy's gonna kill everyone. By the way, he thinks the gods are all soulless, selfish people, but yet he kidnaps children to bring a god to him.
Well, the hypocrisy of Gore is part of the character of Gore.
Yeah, 100%. I'm that's more in candor and joking,
Yeah.
but my biggest qualm with this movie it's twofold. It's one, it's pace of the movie. It's less than 2 hours long, and we are so rapid, fast paced that there's no time to sit anywhere for any time for anything to linger. And 2, the tonal issue of this movie, it almost gives you whiplash at times when they hit with a dramatic moment and then there's an immediate one-liner joke to hit you right back into the humor.
Yeah.
That I did not need. I want certain moments to sit and linger. And I'm saying this negative because I have a lot more positive to say, but I struggle with this movie, and I described it to my friends as the really good really good should have been great Marvel film. Because I think the 3-hour version of this movie might be one of the best movies Marvel's ever made. But because they condensed everything down so much, I struggle with how fast it moves. And man, I really hate how every single serious moment has a joke that changes the tone of that scene.
I mean, I understand what you're saying, but it also...
There's no sincerity. There's no sincerity in the movie.
I don't agree with that statement.
Okay, Jane Foster. Jane Foster is the sincerity of the movie.
But I also appreciate the fact that it's like we don't get 20 minutes diving into stage 4 cancer and how horrible it is and even what kind of cancer it is and all. Like I don't need those details. She's got stage 4 cancer. Great.
And her plot's not my problem at all.
Yeah.
It's more to do with gore and with Thor. Why is Thor so stupid?
Yeah, they did Homer Simpson him a little bit in this, where, you know, when you watch The Simpsons, he gets stupider every season until they finally kind of like had to reel it back a little bit. But it's one of those like, yeah, he gets kind of dumb and goofy.
And why are the Guardians wasted?
So that's one of those things, to your point, with, you know, the true travesty. You know the true travesty here? We got a 2 hour and 40-minute long Eternals movie. But they had to cut down this movie? Like, this is the one that should have been 2 hours and 40 minutes. Like, you know there was way more Guardians. You know there was.
Oh, no. I always mess up his name, and I don't want to get made fun of for it. The director.
Taika Waititi?
Yeah, Taika Waititi. Yeah.
Taika Waititi. He said in an interview this past week that the original plan was always to have them in a very shortened role at the very beginning of the movie. They weren't there for any long period of time. Like that has also, like, this is a bigger qualm with just him directing these Thor movies.
Mm-hmm.
He continuously does things that either have to be fixed in later movies or he is correcting after the movie prior to. Case in point, Thor loses an eye, and his eyes are different colors in Endgame.
Yeah.
Not anymore. Also, the whole point of Thor Ragnarok was his power was supposed to be harnessed within himself. Just kidding. Infinity War shows us that he needs an axe. Oh, now we're in Love and Thunder. Just kidding again, guys. Mjolnir will be part of this, and he has him again now. The axe goes to the little girl.
Okay, but can we talk about how amazing it is that Stormbreaker's like jealous and would just like hover into the screen? Every time it happened, it was hilarious. It was hilarious.
It's like the jealous girlfriend. Justin, what do you think, man?
See, like with the so. I agree with pretty much everything said for the most part. I know a lot of people did not like the goats. I thought the goats were funny.
They were hilarious.
But
I liked them.
And now with the hammer and the axe thing, though, I did enjoy it at first, but after about like the 4th time, I'm like, oh my god, yeah, we get it. Like, god fucking damn it.
For me, it turned the corner and it became like, you know, when someone repeats a joke and it's not funny, and then all of a sudden it just becomes so ludicrous that it becomes funny. That's what happened to me. Like it was like just
toddler. It's like a toddler laughing at something for the 1000th time.
Yeah, it was just I get. And going back to the ghosts real quick, when they get to Gore's like little asteroid planet thing, and the ghosts just like crash into it, like oh my god.
That was one of the jokes I liked that they did too. Was where it's like. The planet was just that small. Like, it looked like it was, like, further away, but it's like, no, that is just very small.
So, Zach, when you say that this is the best outside of the Spider-Man movies, like, I don't have these kind of massive issues with Shang-Chi. My issue with Shang-Chi is that it turns into an anime movie the last 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah,
but, like, I love anime, so, like, it doesn't necessarily bother me.
I mean, like, my problems with Shang-Chi are, like, you know, Aquafina used a bow and arrow for a day and she made that shot. Like, come on. Like, you couldn't have thrown some magic around her or something to have that shot happen, you know?
She's like a descendant of Legolas, like her.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's up there. And see, these are the things, though, where I am a believer in the conspiracy theory that their COVID having to reshuffle everything changed all of these movies in a way that, like, made them all worse.
And they couldn't reshoot. They couldn't reshoot. Yeah. They couldn't do things that they.
I'm sorry, but having Ned open up portals in Spider-Man is so dumb. Like, it's so dumb. Like that. But if that's America Chavez, like it's supposed to be, it makes all the sense in the world. And you're like, oh, sure, I'm here now. But like, you're telling me Ned can just sling ring in like 5 minutes when I'm seeing Dr. Frickin' Strange have to work on it for weeks at a time and get left on Mount Everest to figure out how to do it? Like. And Ned's just like, oh, I got magic in my blood, woo, you know, like, and it's like, come on, what are we doing here? And you know, it's things like all these movies, no matter how good or bad you think they are, they all have issues because of the reshuffle and the reorg. And
Yeah,
you know,
well, I tell you what.
Multiverse of Madness makes way more sense when it comes out right after WandaVision, which is what it was supposed to be.
Or if WandaVision doesn't exist.
Yeah. But I mean, it was supposed to come out the second after WandaVision. Like, it was supposed to be WandaVision ends, Doctor Strange hits, and
but see, that would piss me off more because of what we reconcile in WandaVision.
Yeah.
Please, can we not talk about multiverse again? Like, I can't stand that movie.
See,
like,
really, I was just thinking when Zach said best of Phase 4, I was like, Multiverse of Madness is probably like my number one of Phase 4. And so
over the Spider-Man movies?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well,
I mean,
like No Way Home and Far From Home, I think are just another tier compared to these other movies. But Multiverse of Madness, I'll just say this, and then I'll go back to Love and Thunder. It completely makes WandaVision not matter, and that is a problem for me. That it makes it not matter, and Doctor Strange is an avatar in his own movie. He doesn't matter in his own movie.
For sure.
I said that like last week.
Yeah. But Love and Thunder, those are my 2 or 3 biggest complaints about the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But Christian Bale is amazeballs as Gore the God Butcher.
Yes, he is.
And Natalie Portman finally got to be Jane Foster and be good Jane Foster.
Oh yeah, like she was great as the like. All of a sudden, I'm a superhero, and I love, you know, these are the things I love that they didn't give her like the training montage of watching her get good at. No, she just is Thor, and she's rad. Like, that's all you need. It's fine. Like, but where she's not good is her catchphrases, which is like, yeah, okay, fine, sure. You know,
she's a scientist. She's not a wordsmith. Like,
yeah, she doesn't have that part. That's great. But like, and I put this on Twitter, but I believe it. Christian Bale was just like a super heavyweight in a movie full of light heavyweights, and like every time he's on the screen, he's just so much better of an actor than everyone else in this movie, and it's obvious. It's one of those things. When you see it, it's just like, oh wow, yeah, you win Oscars. These guys make Marvel movies. Like, yeah,
well, and that's why I stand by that the first Thor movie is better than people give it credit for, because of Anthony Hopkins and Natalie Portman doing the role, and what's his name, Skarsgård, carrying scenes. Like every time Hopkins and Middleton and Chris Hemsworth are on screen together, it's freaking magic in the first Thor movie. But like, you're right, Christian Bale just. Like, you could have told me, you could have had me guess, like, describe him of how he was going to be as Gore, even though I've read the comic. I would have never gotten that of what he was, because he was just so good.
Oh, the scene when he's in the cage with the children talking to them,
genuinely terrifying.
And he's so like weirdly likable, but so menacing and like just radiating danger.
And
like he's just like
truth.
Yeah, and he's like the most dangerous person you've ever seen in your life, and he's talking to children, and it's like so unsettling watching that whole thing play out. The shot of him on the hill on the attack for New Asgard, when the
aesthetics of that is gorgeous.
Man, it's like the scariest thing that's
and you know what
Marvel's done. It's
one of the
great.
things, like, you know, I don't always like doing this, comparing comic to what we see on screen, but like the creatures that he has look just like the things from the comic. They look just like them. Like they did a really good job with all of that when it comes to Gore, except for showing him actually killing gods. Like,
yeah. When they got to the God City, I thought there was going to be like Gore would show up and there was going to be a
murk all of them. Murk the pan, the bread god or whatever, the bun god.
That god was so cute though.
Yeah, it was.
Adorable. But yeah, Justin, like what were some high water marks out of the movie for you? We've talked negatives, but let's keep positive here. What are some high water marks for you?
I did really like what they did with the hammer, making it be like a shotgun. I thought was really cool, and it every time it did that and like reassembled back together, I loved it every single time. I thought that was really cool. You know, I know leading up to the movie, a lot of people were like taking still frames from the trailer and whatever and like shitting on like the CGI and stuff, but I actually thought the CGI was really good. Like the city of like the gods and stuff was really pretty. I'll admit, like, you know, the little thunderbolt thing did just kind of look like a prop, but when it was actually lit up and like doing stuff, it looked really cool.
Yeah. And can we talk about he's here, he's there, he's every fucking where? Roy Kent as Hercules.
Freaking good.
So good. What casting? What casting?
Best kept secret of a cameo.
I know.
Freaking ever. Good. But hey, just like Eternals, it's not going to matter because none of their post-credit scenes have mattered since that movie came out.
My secret theory is they might move forward pretending Eternals never happened.
Well, like, they can't because Blade's in it. And
oh sure, but you might never see those characters again. It might just be like, hey, and here's Blade and the Black Knight, and we're just moving on. And you know, like it just because
like this giant corpse in the middle of the ocean never happened.
Have they mentioned it once?
No.
Have you seen it? That would come up once or twice. Yeah, like
I really want to see Kit Harington's Knight though. Like I really want to see him return.
The Wee Knight,
the Ebony Knight, yeah.
Well, I want the wee Knight because Kit Harington is quite small. As an individual.
That's fair. Look, Zach, Justin, what was another positive for you?
I'll circle back around.
Wow.
I mean, I think the action sequences were great.
I'll give you a positive for me. I think Valkyrie is fantastic. If anything, we got way too little Valkyrie. Yep. I want her.
Scenes from the trailer were cut from the movie.
Yeah, I want her new Asgard Kings basketball jersey that she's wearing at the end. I would wear the hell out of that. That's rad.
All right, I did think of something. So I thought it was funny when I watched it, but then the Twitter comment I saw about it made it even funnier. So because Asgard's basically like almost like a tourist trap at this point, the Infinity Cone I thought was hilarious. And then someone on Twitter posted a picture of it, and they were like, it's funny that they show this, but in the Marvel universe, it's like this would almost be the equivalent of having like a Holocaust ice cream store. And I'm like, they're right. And I'm like, that makes it even funnier that they're just like, yeah, I mean, half the population is wiped out, but we got, all the flavors balanced.
It gets even better. Half the universe gets wiped out, but then Thanos also killed half of Asgard. Like on the ship before they even got there, so they got half and then half. Yeah. They got it double. So yeah.
I think the action sequences were incredible. The fight scenes were great. Like I really enjoyed them. The switch to black and white.
Yeah.
That was really so cool. Freaking gorgeous. I honestly think George Miller has spoiled me because I own the Chrome edition of Mad Max, and I've watched it, and now there are just certain things that should be black and white, and like I didn't realize that until that movie, but it was just so well done.
Can we talk about the needle drop of the November Rain solo when all the little kids get powered up and they charge forward? I'm sorry, that was awesome. It was corny as hell.
Okay,
let's be clear, it's corny as hell. But it ruled. Like in the theater,
because that is on level with the dragon fight at the end of Shang-Chi. Okay, I just want to be clear here.
Fair.
All right,
but
thank you.
In the theater, when that guitar kicks in,
it's true,
and the little kids are all like radiating lightning, charging forward, it ruled. I'm sorry, I was in. I was totally in.
It was cool. It was a fun moment. Yeah. But guys, here's the thing. We've talked about this movie for about 10 minutes and we haven't brought up the best part of this movie. Okay. And that is the corny Greek accent of Russell Crowe.
Yes. What an artistic choice. And he owns it. He knows what he's doing. It is like it's like a 1940s Looney Tunes version of a Greek accent.
You know what it is? It's Tom Hanks. It's Tom Hanks's horrible Boston accent in Perfect Storm.
Yes. Yes.
Like that's what it is. But he owns it. Like he knows what he's doing. Like I love Russell Crowe as the actor, but like I don't know why he had to choose that voice. Like, and then why does your son? Why is he British? like why is Roy Kent like just British as hell? But
Hey.
you're used to this Greek accent that is so not good.
Hey, Zeus gets around, man. I don't know. Like,
He
hey,
does.
you know?
That's fair. Okay, so look, Zach, let me just say this, and Justin, I want to hear your take too. I do have an overarching criticism to the Marvel current Phase 4.
Okay.
There's a lot of things going on, but there's no direction.
Yep, that's my big critique right now too, because this movie very much is a standalone movie.
All of them have been.
The only one I would argue that isn't is Shang-Chi. It's the only one that has like at the end of it.
End. Yeah.
You know,
with
then
Banner and yeah.
And then in Miss Marvel, the 10 rings show up again when the bangle gets discovered. So there's like
Say that
there's
again?
like so when in Miss Marvel,
I haven't watched it yet. I'm going to. I just haven't had a chance yet.
no, but in episode 3 where they go to the flashback and it shows the Jinn finding the bangle for the first time in the cave or whatever, the 10 rings are on the floor of that temple when they find it on the Kree arm.
Okay.
So it's like you have this like kind of through line that's showing up in those properties, but that's kind of it right now.
Yeah. We don't have a big bad. We don't have a coming threat that doesn't even have to be a bad guy. And look, I understand. They wrote themselves in a hole when they chose to make 20 movies leading up to Infinity War and Endgame.
Yeah.
And I understand that you kind of want to course correct, but we have now 7 movies and 11, like almost 8 shows. How many shows, Justin? I'm sorry, you laid it out for us.
Yeah. I think it is like 8 at this point.
But we have no idea what's
Where it's
being
all
built
going.
toward. We have nothing that we're built towards. It's like a hamster wheel that's spinning. There's things going on, but there's no direction.
And for me, it feels a lot like they're throwing a bunch of stuff against the wall and seeing what's working, and then they're going to go from there, which is why I say things like it wouldn't shock me if just the Eternals goes away. Like that just whole thing goes away. Because it's like right now there's pieces to do a Young Avengers. There's pieces to do a Thunderbolts. There's
Secret
pieces
Invasion.
There's pieces to do Secret Invasion. There's pieces to do Secret Wars. Like you still have X-Men out there. You still have Fantastic Four out there. Like there's a lot of things that feels like they're just throwing a bunch of stuff up and hey, what caught fire? What's popular? Okay, let's build around that. And yeah, but even that is like, well, now there's the Sony stuff and so we can't count on Spider-Man. Like there's all that and it's a lot of stuff. So
What do you think, Justin?
Yeah, that's kind of been one of my complaints too about it doesn't seem, which I get the hesitation behind like trying to replicate like the Infinity Saga, like you nailed it the first time, so you have to either do something just as good, if not better, the next time around, and it can't be like exactly the same thing because otherwise people are going to bitch about that and you'll just have that hanging over your shoulders. I'm really hoping, like, I feel like Fantastic Four could fix a lot of their problems since they're tied to ground stuff, they're tied to cosmic stuff, like they can do quantum realm stuff. They have Doom, who I think should and could be the next biggest bad of the MCU.
He's the best villain Marvel has.
He is,
like,
and
full
it's
stop.
one of those things. Like Fantastic Four, he was a villain of Iron Man. Like I've heard rumors of Black Panther and stuff of him being like villain in that, and so it's like one of those things. Like he's widely available across multiple things to be that person that everyone kind of has to come together to fight. And
Well, look, they had a perfect opportunity with WandaVision and Multiverse of Madness to have Scarlet Witch change everything, and they didn't have the balls to do it. And so, like, I don't know when the mutants thing is coming.
There's a moment at the finale of Miss Marvel, if we want to get into that real quick.
We can jump to that.
If we can,
Yeah.
can we talk? Like, go ahead and say this. Can we just don't spoil everything for Miss Marvel for me? I'm not aloof like Shannon on spoilers. I care a little bit.
So all I'll say is there is a moment at the end.
I saw the headline, so I already know what you're gonna say.
There's a moment at the end of the episode where, what's his name? Bruno.
Yeah.
We don't talk about Bruno. Where Bruno, where he says he looked at Kamala's genetic structure, because it's like, why can she use these powers but no one else in her family can? Because it would make sense, if you're half Jinn, half human, then your brother should be able to do this too, so why can't he? And she has a mutation in her genetics that allows her to access this ability, and when they do that, the X-Men cartoon theme plays.
It's like
yeah. And it's one of those like, oh, so she's a mutant. You just now introduced mutants. Like, okay. This is how we're doing it.
I mean, they did that with Wanda too, where they basically said that she had the power all along, but that the Tesla like woke it up within her or whatever. That like it didn't turn her into whatever. Like after they gained the rights, they're like, hey, we can use mutant now, so let's just retroact this shit and like make her a mutant.
So now I'm really curious how they go with like, without having an inhuman, Terrigen Mist type event, are mutants just going to start showing up?
The Infinity Gauntlet should have done it. They made such a big deal in Infinity War and in Endgame about the gamma radiation that the snap caused on the Earth, and they did it twice. I'm sorry, no, they did it 3 times. That should have caused a mutation event. Yeah. If it was going to happen, it should have.
And they still might. I mean, they still could bring that around. Like, they're in the MCU timeline, they're still only like 2 or 3 years out from that event. So it stands to reason that like these things might just slowly be working their way to the surface.
Yeah, Reed Richards could discover it.
And let me comic nerd for just a second. What I want more than anything, I know Secret Invasion TV show is happening, but they have all the things in place to have a Secret Invasion occur, like a main event leading into a movie or a section of that could be the next phase. I mean, everything's in place. You can just say that the Fantastic Four were involved in the Skrull Kree War, and that's why the Skrulls come back and want to fight on Earth, because the Fantastic Four screwed them over in the Kree War, which is exactly what happens in the comics. Mm-hmm. Like it exactly happens that way, and Nick Fury is already gone with the Skrulls.
Yeah,
like you have this stuff, and I know everybody wants Secret Wars. But my question is, which Secret Wars do you want? Do you want the 1980s, or do you want
the Beyonder one? Yeah,
totally. Or do you want the 2000s one? And like, and look, Kevin Feige, the dude's a goat. Okay, he is a goat when it comes to this stuff, and he promised that we would find out very soon what the direction of Marvel is going to be. There's no way it's not Hall H. We haven't seen anything released. And so I imagine they're going to do... Y'all remember back in 2013 or 14 when they announced Civil War? Like, y'all remember how they did that? They had everyone come out on stage, and it was RDJ and Chris Evans facing each other, and they just put the graphic up on the screen, Civil War. Yeah. Like, that's probably what they're going to lead towards, is something like that.
Well, they're gonna bring some heat into Hall H, because everyone that paid 3 years for their Disney Plus subscription, that ends in November. So they need people to keep their subscriptions. So they're gonna bring some heat.
Well, and it's like, I assume we have to like see something. I'm assuming we're gonna get like some sort of teaser trailer for Black Panther, because they have shown and said nothing about that movie.
Quantum Ant-Man and the Quantum
Mania.
What else? There's one other. Well, we know She-Hulk. We know Secret Invasion TV show with Nick Fury.
I really hope they show us a improved She-Hulk, because man, that trailer, bro.
The CGI doesn't look great, but Tatiana, the actress, is incredible.
Which is why, like, and I know that was I feel bad for them if this is the case, but that was a trailer that was initially meant for just like investors. Like, this is what we're working on. Like, it was not supposed to be presented as a final product, and then it got out in the world, and they just ran with it. And it's one of those like, so I'm hoping that was early, you know. And it's one of those like, what we get at the end isn't that.
Oh, and we have the Marvels.
Yeah,
because everyone wants to see more Captain Marvel, that wonderfully bad movie.
Well, and what's really surprising to me is that She-Hulk is 9 episodes. Like, this is
Hold on.
Yes.
What the hell did you just say?
Yes, She-Hulk is 9 episodes.
And Kenobi was only 6?
Like every
Miss Marvel was only 6.
Yeah.
Miss Marvel needed more episodes.
Miss Marvel was only 6.
Moon Knight needed more episodes.
That's what I'm saying. Is it's like the longest.
Shannon, you got something to say? Oh, Shannon, are you? Did you watch Moon Knight, Shannon? Was it too scary for you?
Shannon, you're on
You're
mute.
muted, Shannon.
God, you don't even know what's going on right now.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just gonna say I did watch Moon Knight. It was great, and it was a lot better than that shitty Kenobi show. So it was fine.
Did that feel good? Did it feel good saying that?
It did.
Do you feel better? Do you feel better now?
I
Felt
mean,
real good.
Robbie, we could talk about Kenobi.
Fine, let's talk the hell out of Kenobi. I'm here for
Oh,
it.
here he comes.
Let's go.
The trains are going.
Let's go. Okay.
So why, in the best thing that Star Wars has done in maybe a decade, with the battle between Obi-Wan and Vader in the last episode, why do they continue to stop it to take us to the third sister in a meaningless venture for minutes at a time? And what, Shannon?
How about Robbie? Why did the third sister go so deep undercover that she had to murder her own kind to try to get one shot at Darth Vader, who then ran her through with a lightsaber? Then in the last episode, when their Kenobi and Darth Vader are battling, does she go to try to kill Luke Skywalker and then not be able to follow through with it? Like, why is she? Why did she sell her soul to kill somebody she had no chance killing?
So I think, all right. So there's this character in the if you played KOTOR, it's called Darth Revan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Darth Revan he's a Jedi, one of the best Jedi ever. Explores so far into the dark side, becomes this dark side guy, but he ultimately his ultimate goal is still to bring peace for the Jedi over the Sith. Okay, spoiler alert for the KOTOR players. I think they were trying to create a very mini version of that with Revan, and Revan not Revan. I'm sorry,
Reva?
with Reva. Thank you. See, I mean, even her name sounds like Revan. So I think that was the plan. Look, Zach and I have talked about this ad nauseum. I do not defend the third sister. I do think she gets better as far as the acting and the writing gets better as the season goes on. She is hard to watch in those first couple episodes. I do not defend her at all. I did not watch the show for the third sister, nor do I care about the third sister.
Exactly my point. And yet you keep stopping this fight to go back to the third sister.
And look, I mean, they chose to add this character into it, which I don't understand why. But for 6 episodes, I got to explore Obi-Wan Kenobi after the greatest failure of his life, and I actually got to appreciate Princess Leia way more than I ever had before.
Oh, you mean her ability to be kidnapped?
No, like seeing how she was raised, seeing how she was taught to think, and how we see a little mini version of Leia, and how, like, she wasn't trained to be some politician. She was trained to be a warrior, and she shows that throughout this show. Just like in A New Hope, when we see her holding a gun and telling the 2 dudes to jump down and shoot because she is shooting freaking stormtroopers. Like,
so can we agree on one point? That I'm trying to come up with the best way to put this. That last fight
is the greatest Star Wars fight ever.
But it goes too far. It
What do you
goes
mean
too
goes
far.
too far?
Because Obi-Wan would just kill him at that point. He is done. He's defeated. He's broken. You would just kill Vader at that point. There's literally nothing stopping him from killing him at that, ending all of it. All of it. It just stops.
I would say I don't think it goes too far. I think they chose the wrong thing to stop the fight.
And my whole thing is, if they had fought to a standstill, if the landscape they were on broke in a way that separated them, something like that, and one of them bugged out, like say maybe Vader goes like, well, I guess today is not the day, and like leaves because he knows he's beaten or something like that. Like, to have him that defeated and have Obi-Wan be like, well, guess that wraps that up, and leave. Like, no, you would not make that choice in that situation.
Yeah, and see, I just would say that I would have chosen a different way for the fight to have ended. Whether it's someone with a ship shooting down at Vader and him running to the ship, Obi-Wan running to the ship and getting off. Yeah. I mean, for them to essentially create the exact same ending of the fight on Mustafar. Yeah. Like, yeah, I mean, look, it could have been different. It could have been better. But again, like, my appreciation is with the journey and with Ewan McGregor returning as Obi-Wan and crushing it as Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, so, like, and guys, my son's middle name is Kenobi. Like it's just, they would have had to do a lot for that movie, for that show not to do well for me.
Sure.
But I am not ignorant to, I did not need the third sister. Now, but at the same time, am I ecstatic to see the Inquisitors on there? Hell yeah. Like, as someone who's watched Rebels as much as I have, my son's watching it, not at this very moment, but we are currently watching through Rebels together. Yeah. Like, it's so cool to see the Grand Inquisitor and see, the fifth brother or whatever. Like, it's really cool to see these guys.
Wait, Justin, didn't you tell me the fifth brother's Han from Fast and Furious?
Yeah.
that like blew my mind.
And Justin, the funny thing is, like, it's like season 2, episode 3 of Rebels. It's the first time we see the fifth brother, and he looks really close to the live action version of that character, but also, like, just a small moment. The smuggler, Kamali, is that how you say his last name?
Nanjiani.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Him being a smuggler that teaches Obi-Wan that not all smugglers are horrible people, which then transcends to what happens 10 years later when he meets Han Solo for the first time. Like, the things that they connected. I don't need another season of Kenobi. If they made one, I of course would watch the hell out of it, but I don't need it. Like, they did what I wanted. Yeah. And now we get to see Ahsoka, and Ahsoka, like, I'm excited for Ahsoka.
I mean, they made Darth Vader too OP too fast. Like, I mean, there's a 10-year window. I get that you're going to get stronger.
I think Rogue One did that.
Yeah, but still, I mean, like,
OP Darth Vader.
Dude walked into that room and caught that ship trying to leave like it was nothing.
It was the coolest thing ever, though. Like,
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say, but to counter that, like, he's mopping the floor with Kenobi the first time they fight. He's like using his face to douse the flames, and this lady shoots a laser, and like he can't just go. Yeah, he just can't like be like, nope, I'm gonna stop that, and I'm just gonna
because he's not Kylo Ren. He's not Kylo Ren, Shannon. Okay, I'm just kidding. Keep going. I'm sorry, buddy.
I'm just saying, like, there's those there's those inconsistencies.
No,
it's just like Thor, right? Like, it's like Thor can all of a sudden take out an entire army of aliens in Infinity War at the end of the movie, but just because he puts on some weight, he's gonna get like just drugged. He's gonna get drugged by Thanos. Like, just. Like, go back and watch that fight. Thor shouldn't even be there. Except for Mjolnir being a part of that fight, he shouldn't even... Thor does nothing. Oh, no, I'm sorry. He powers up Iron Man. He brings down some electricity and fires up his suit. But you're right, Shannon. Like, but what do you do? Like, because in the original trilogy, like, the coolest thing he does is hold a captain up in the air and chokes him. Mm-hmm. Or, he moves very stationary and beats Kenobi in a fight, like, He's very robotic.
Kenobi gives up.
In a fight that Kenobi lets him do.
Yeah.
But yeah. No, we need to talk about the dopest thing in that whole series that Vader does is when Third Sister attacks him and he beats the piss out of her with her own lightsaber. Like, he never takes his lightsaber out. The whole thing is just like, when you're messing with a little kid and going, why are you hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself? Yeah. Except it's with a lightsaber and another Jedi. Like, he's just mopping the floor with her.
I told Lisa it was the most John Wick looking fight ever. Yeah. He just made it look so freaking simple. Like, she is coming as hard as she can with that lightsaber, and he's just like, oh, nah, no, we're not gonna do that.
In fact, let me break this in half. Oh, here, you take half and I'll take half. Okay, now let's go. Oh, actually, I want your half too. Okay, now let's go. Like, oh, it's just so, like, just playing with her. Like, it was so bad.
When Qui-Gon shows up at the end, he should have been like, so y'all motherfuckers live through getting stabbed with lightsabers now? That sucks.
Oh, by the way, another Disney midsection survival, Zeus in Thor.
Yeah.
People don't die. People don't die getting run through in the abdomen. People just don't die anymore.
Apparently not. I mean, look at the Grand Inquisitor. It happens to him in the freaking first, like, two or three episodes of the show.
But that dude's an alien. That might just be like an empty air gas field or something in there. There's no organs in there.
Appendix. Like, you don't know what it is.
Look, he doesn't have a spine. He has an exoskeleton. I don't know. Like,
so I'll just say this and we can move on to the next thing. Because I want to take 2 minutes, Justin. I want us to talk about players because I think it's so freaking good. I think with the Star Wars with Kenobi, it was originally supposed to be a 2.5 hour movie. Like that was the way it was originally pitched. So this thing being sectioned off into 6 episodes, I think it now that we can watch it in you can watch it in its entirety together. I do think it's better. I don't think it benefited from a one episode a week show because it felt weird how they cut off every episode. I don't know if you felt that at all, Shannon, but like I did. It felt a lot like the second to last season of Game of Thrones. How it just felt weird the way it was edited together. I love the show for what it does, for what it's trying to do. I have criticisms of it, as we already talked about, but yeah, let's just not hate on everything that Robby loves, please, because
I don't know. My favorite thing was still when Shannon said some shit and then Robby dusted off the Star Wars wiki and he's like, well, if you refer to book number 47 in the Skywalker compendium and there's this one character that showed up for a chapter, it's kind of like
here,
that.
I'll make it worse, Justin. Here is Darth Revan. There you go. You're welcome. What was the other show we were going to talk about?
Oh, you guys need to geek out on The Boys because I still haven't watched it, but you can spoil the hell out of it, so it's fine.
You haven't seen the finale?
He hasn't seen any of it.
Season. It's bro. I get like no time to watch TV, and
I don't want to spoil that for you.
He's already had it spoiled every week.
Yeah, no, I've been okay with it because honestly, by the time I get to it, I'm gonna have forgotten, so it's fine. It's fine.
Okay,
another show
Go ahead, Shannon.
I was just gonna say it's another show where the people that you think are gonna die aren't gonna die.
Yeah, does anybody watch? Am I the only one that watches Stranger Things?
Yeah,
I watched it.
I loved the season.
I haven't seen that.
I thoroughly enjoyed the season. All right, boys. Zach, you and I have both read the comic. I think the show has hit the threshold where it is far better than the comic.
Oh, okay.
This season, I think, does that.
Jensen Ackles is great as Soldier Boy. Like that last episode, his performance talking to Homelander. Peak.
They changed the character, Zach, completely in the best way possible. I think The Boys this season, like, it's just so crazy to me. Like, a show that involves someone killing, like a girl killing a bunch of dudes with dildos, can also have a moment where I'm thinking about tearing up because it's talking about a little brother and a big brother's relationship. I
Crazy.
go ahead, Shannon.
No, I do. I liked the finale. I'm wondering about the longevity of the show. Like, I know they got renewed for another season, and I know there's a
Two more
spinoff.
seasons.
2 more seasons? Okay,
Mhm.
so it'll be interesting to see what happens with Butcher.
Yeah, I'm my again. This is just comic related. I'm really, really, I'm a little surprised by this, and Zach, I'm sorry, this is gonna be super spoily. They take time in like the third or fourth episode to point out that Black Noir is allergic to peanuts, allergic to almonds, or allergic to peanuts. In the comic, Black Noir is a clone of Homelander. Like, and he is the one who keeps tabs on Homelander for the very end of the comic. We've seen Black Noir keep tabs on Homelander all throughout the show. He was there the first time he went and met the son and the daughter, and I always forget their names. But then they kill Black Noir in this show, even though he survived a gashed skull and his head being cut, split open. He survives that, but he's dead now. Black Noir is how the show, is how Homelander kind of gets taken care of. So they've taken that completely off the board. I don't know where this show goes from here, because I almost feel like you're at a point now where Homelander has to die and there needs to be a new villain, because you can't continue you can't just have Homelander be the bad guy forever. I mean, Shannon, I think that's what you're getting to.
Yeah, like, and I don't think he is though. Like, I think like the way that they ended the season with his son, like, he's gonna be the new villain, I think, which would suck. Or it would be interesting to see how how Butcher battles that, right? Like,
Yeah.
or how he rescues that situation.
It's a year left, I guess, or whatever, right?
Yeah. So I don't know.
So my theory, I'm assuming, if I had to guess, I would say that the next 2 seasons, like, I think it will probably end at season 5, if I had to guess. And my theory is because next season they set up where they're going for the head popper or whatever. They set her up at the end. She was in this season, but she was not the main focus. It was Soldier Boy and Homelander, and she kind of just got pushed as like a background character doing shit in the shadows. But then they're like, oh, she's like now in a place of power again, and they set up like, okay, we're going after her. I'm assuming she's going to be the main villain, and it's going to be them trying to work, but because she's like a public official and whatever, they can't just like go outright like kick down her door and kill her. So I'm assuming that's going to be her being the villain for 4, and then it's going to be reversed, and Homelander's going to be there, but as kind of like a background character ish. And then I'm assuming some shit's going to go down season 4. I'm hesitant. I would want to guess that Butcher's gonna die in season 4. I don't know. I don't want him to, but I don't know how he lives otherwise unless he takes actual Compound V and that like cures him. I don't know how he lives beyond the time frame that he was given. So my assumption is that he would die. Huey's gonna take over. Like, the boys disperse. It's like Avengers disassembled after he dies. And then my guess would be
Great comic.
My guess would be that season 5 does a time jump, like years later, like 5 years, 6 years, whatever years later, and Huey gets the boys back together. And at this point, Homelander's gone like fully off the rails, and it's been enough time that he's like now amassed a fucking army of like followers, potentially other soups, like rebuilt his like new version of the 7 with other crazy like motherfuckers. And then it's them coming back together to finish Butcher's job of killing Homelander, and that's the final season. If I had to guess, that's my prediction for it.
Zach, outside of Stormfront and Soldier Boy, were there any other big characters to fight against him? Because I don't remember there being.
No, I mean, it was always Soldier Boy. It was kind of like, and that was just because he can't die.
And they did not take it where I thought they were going to take it. By the way, they don't go through with what happens in the comic.
Okay.
Even though I swore it was coming, but they chose a version of Soldier Boy. This is not the comic Soldier Boy at all. but it's a great version of it.
Okay.
And I'll be honest with you guys, I don't know if y'all feel the same way, but like by the end of the season, like I of course care about Homelander because he's just such an interesting villain. I was caring more about the other people's storylines throughout the season. Like Starlight kind of takes the back seat a little bit this season,
Mhm.
but by the end she matters, and she matters incredibly, like much. And same with M. Like M's story to me is awesome, and I really hope that the stepdad gets like shot in the face at some point.
Dude, it's funny that you brought up Starlight because there's that one moment it's like, oh, she's actually gonna be badass, and it's just like, Put! And I'm like, that did nothing. I was like,
Yeah.
you did all this build up, and you like what pushed him 12 feet on across the floor? Like, okay.
But no, I think this was probably my favorite season.
Cool.
I mean, top to bottom.
It was I think it was the heaviest too. I think there
Yeah.
were a lot of heavy topics in this one.
Yeah,
It was
there
hard
was.
to get through, but
A Train. A Train is the one that I want to know what happens
Mhm.
because he's kind of a baby back biatch, but like,
Oh, bro, the deep, like that dude
dude.
is the epitome.
Oh man, you know they're just like, hey, what's something weird we could do this episode? You know what? Let's get the deep. He'll do something weird for
Dude,
us.
that's kind of my assumption with my theory of like how the rest of the show will go is I'm assuming A Train and the Deep will join the boys at some point because I'm assuming
I think the deep is gonna die a very horrible death.
That or he's just gonna run away into the ocean and just like live somewhere with his fish.
Yeah, like I really could see the end of this show being for the deep. Like he's like getting it on with a few octopi in the like he's just having his own little thing, special thing underwater with them. Um, but yeah, I thought it was a really good season. I know that you guys didn't, said y'all didn't really watch Stranger Things, but like this season really leans into horror, and it gives us some awesome, like in the midst of these huge stakes, there are incredibly small moments that make the show really special this season. I know the season 3 was not everyone's cup of tea with Stranger Things, and I think this one makes up for it greatly. What was the other show that y'all want to talk about?
I mean, we had The Old Man, which rules. You should watch it if you're not watching it.
I'm not.
But
I'm currently watching The Terminal List and Under the Banner of Heaven. I'm watching that as well.
Oh god damn, like life isn't depressing enough. You're gonna watch that show.
My wife loves murder mysteries, and I like them too.
But The Old Man is essentially like a like a beach novel, like spy thriller type thing, but it's basically John Wick with Jeff Bridges. It's like John Wick, Born Identity, and Jeff Bridges. Like all like that's my selling pitch. And
it Taken?
No, it's not really Taken.
Yeah,
it's more government spy type stuff.
Okay.
And everyone's coming to kill him, and he's the baddest man walking. And I know Justin has been watching it. And Justin, does that show just kick ass and take names?
Yes. So this week I marathoned.
Yes.
I marathoned it to get up to date so that when the new episode came out, I could watch it. And yeah, it's gotten very like the dude who's after him, the dad from Third Rock from the Sun.
Yeah, John Lithgow's the counterpart.
Yeah, he's
dude,
so
he's
good.
such a good villain.
He's so good. Like at the beginning, like they set the tone at the beginning where like he's like in the bathroom like crying like a little bitch, and then like 10 minutes later he's like, "You ever fucking question me again?" And then just like puts his like foot down, and it's like okay, yeah, he's
better
fucking.
than when he was the Trinity Killer in Dexter.
It's not as good as that, but it's up there.
Okay.
It's up there as far as villainy goes.
Like
there's
that pull.
There's this great scene where in the first episode they're coming for him. They're coming for Jeff Bridges' character. And he's like the assistant. Lithgow's the assistant director of the CIA, and he's with some FBI agents, and they're watching the live feed from like the agents in the field's cams, trying to get him. And he sits down, gets settled to watch the cams, and the one lead FBI guy is just like mean mugging him, just staring like over his shoulder, burning holes through his back, like, and he's like, so tell me something. Never looking at him, but just tell me something. Do I look like a guy you can fuck with? And the FBI guy's like, no, sir. He's like, then I would stop staring at me before I feel like I'm getting fucked with. And it was just like, from that point on, you're like, all right, it's on. Like, yeah, like he's that dude. We're doing this. Like, and he goes to prove it throughout that show that, like, yeah, he's kind of that guy that always has one more card, one more step. He's a couple moves ahead of you, like, but they do a good job of being like, oh, but this might be the time he's cut. Like, there's a great moment in, I think it's episode 4, where kind of the more cards are getting laid out on the table. Like, the story's starting to open up, and it's like, oh, well, I guess this might be it for Harper. Like, this might be like where he gets cut off, or where he gets kind of like get his knees cut off from under him. And now he's got that one more card to play that gets him on the airplane to go see the dude. Like, there's always like that one thing that he's got, and it's great. And Jeff Bridges' character is awesome.
Jeff Bridges is great.
Yeah. And like the thing that's good about it is he is an old man, and like he's doing all this stuff, but it's totally taking a toll on him. There's none of the John Wick, Jason Bourne, like, yeah, they're hurt, but they're still fine. Like, sure, they're beat up, but they're still fine. Like, now he gets beat up and it lasts. Like, he's stumbling around for a while. Like, there's an old episode of him limping now because damn, that fight took it out of him, like it's that type of stuff.
Yeah, and that's the thing I really like about it is, like, some of the twists and stuff I was able to easily predict. I was like, oh, dude, like, I know who this person is or whatever. But then there's some, especially in, like, the last, like, 2 episodes, where I was like, did not see that coming. But it adds an interesting dynamic of I'm not sure where it's going now once, like, you start to realize the relationship and how all these people are connected and stuff. I'm like, that's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, it's totally worth putting on your radar. But as we've gone, what, 2.5 hours now? I feel like we should land the plane. I'm having fun. It's episode 200, but
it's 12:30 for me.
I know it's 12:30 for Robby. Shannon's got to get up early. Shannon's been giving me the look for about a
Shannon's
half hour.
Shannon's got a dock to sit on to go fishing tomorrow.
Yeah, Shannon's been
17 PBRs.
Yeah, I mean, he's been talking for 2 minutes now and is still muted, so he's, but
Damn it.
Classic.
But no, Shannon's been giving me the look for 30 minutes of like, can we wrap this up? Can we do this? So yes, I just want to say, people that have been listening for a while, new listeners, thank you for riding with us. 200 episodes has been fun. I can't wait to get to 300, 400, beyond. I'm very appreciative of Shannon and Justin and Robby and everyone else for riding on this journey alongside me. Something I look forward to every single week. And Justin, why don't you get in there and land this plane?
You know what, guys? Thank you guys for listening to another episode, the 200th episode of the That Pixel Life podcast. We recorded this episode on the Discord, which if you want to join the fun Discord chat, head on over to the Discord. Get added, check it out. We do have some fun sections and stuff for spoiler content, gaming news, all that fun stuff. So head on over there and, while you're at it, even though I don't think anyone's checked them, give us a review on Spotify. Let us know how we're doing. And, Robby, for the 200th episode, if you were here, what would you say?
I would say for the 200th time, probably it's 200th time probably in a week, but 200th time on this podcast, go and be great.
I love you guys.
I love you guys.
Hell yeah.